Welcome along to the next instalment of our Three Things campaign, where all this month we are speaking to industry experts and commentators about the three things that landlords should be focusing more on in 2018. And joining me now is Neil Cobbold from PayProp. And Neil, I thought you'd be such a great person to talk to with your overview of the private rented sector. You know, many challenges facing landlords. They need to get their act together. What three things do you think they should be focusing on?
Do you know what, with the last year, 18 months, it'd be very easy for landlords to be focusing on the negative within the property market, tightening them within tax, people looking at their income streams and how it is going. The big thing I think landlords need to be doing is the same as the whole thing with the property sector in general. Let's be more forward thinking. They've got a property which is the longest term investment that they're ever going to place. If I was a business, I'd be starting looking at yield protection. Let's not just start looking at when a property becomes vacant, how do I then bring this property back up to standard? If you were to deal with this and you were an investment company or you were an agency and you were running it as a business, you'd be looking at how you could protect that income throughout the entirety. And we should be doing the same. You've just come through the period of giving and receiving through Christmas. Let's now look at our properties. What can we give that property so we receive a longer return and a greater yield on it? They should also then be looking at what they're actually using, and if their relationship needs to be better, have they got the same technological advances and relationships either in their communications with their tenants, or if they're not communicating directly, if they're using an agency third party, is their agency doing them the best benefit? Agency is that they're acting on behalf of. So the landlord needs to take more of a responsibility that if this person is acting on behalf of, or if I'm doing the communication, am I keeping to be advanced? Am I meeting my customer base? Landlords, we always say, we're treated as B2C, but in actual fact, with the taxes and the non-relief on mortgage, more and more we're being treated as a business, as property owners. That's got to reflect in how we behave. And the final thing I would say that landlords in this area really need to keep an eye on is that they are still within property providing a service that is vitally needed. Let's not step away. You could be very negative and we could pull out, property is not needed. Property is always going to be needed, but it needs to be provided right, with the right communication and the right structure in place. Don't believe that just because you speak to an agent or you hand it, that absolves you of responsibility. It's your investment, it's your money, it's your property that you're looking after. You need to make sure, and in the new year, let's sweep away all the old things that we've done and actually get people focused on that this really can be a real energised sector again. Let's get away with what needs to be done and the regulations put in place. Let's use that to our positive benefit and make sure this really works for us as an investment.
Well, wow. I mean, I have to say I agree 100% with everything you've said there. Just picking up on your second point about digital communication, landlords are typically, 45 upwards. They're kind of analog thinkers. But I think, as you alluded to, they have to understand that their tenants are digital natives and they expect the experience through digital formats, don't they?
They do, and I think the age question goes less and less out the window. My dad's probably the most prevalent Facebook user I come across. We automatically now digest our information digitally. No matter the age, we find that we're no longer newspaper readers, we're digital news, we're now TV on 200 channels plus. We have a digital need. All we've got to realise is that our property is no different, our tenants are no different, our consumer base, if anything, has more of a need for that, and because of that, that sets the standard, it sets the requirement, and by us not doing it, all that does is shows that we're not listening to our customer base, and we're not looking to meet a need. And if we don't look to meet a need, we ultimately become obsolete. They'll find a way to fulfil that need.
Indeed. So, landlords, in your opinion, they should be positive, they should be looking long term. We're kind of on a roller coaster, but when you look back, it seems that the humps weren't quite as bad as you thought.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're emotional and things come out. And a lot of people, preferably landlords, they fall into one of three categories. We have our incidental landlords that have got the one or two properties that have come up through move-in or negative equity. We've then got the people who are purposely setting this up. Properties becoming more and more used as a pension element, a way of providing through in later life. Or we have our business landlords who are doing this, and this is the way that they're actually making an income. And in all of those three categories, it all comes down to our quality of life. So when anything hits into it, we are going to have an emotional response. But they're not that bad. the things that have come in, the way that they're actually put forward, they will benefit our industry. And we're not looking at 1-2 year returns, we're looking at long term. You know, if we take the version of the pension fund, it can have the stock market crashes, it can have go through, it's still there if it's been set properly. And landlords can be the same with their properties. If they put the right things in place now, whatever the government brings in, further regulations, further tax, they can weather these because they'll actually be set up for what their customer market needs.
Well, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. You've been like a vitamin injection of positivity here on Property Tribes, and it's been a real privilege to have your contribution. Thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you.